Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 918. Tonight, something a little different. Complete stories from the trenches. I logged everything we've been working on, my son and I, for the last couple weeks and made some notes. And it's about 16, 17 stories. And a lot of them are easy. A lot of them are boring. Well, not a lot of them, but some are, standard. But it kind of gives you an idea of what's involved with my business and literally just everything from the last couple weeks. So I want to start off with the first item that was before the show started, and that was an Outlook add-in that keeps giving us some trouble because Outlook 365, if it takes too long to load, it will automatically disable an add-in. But this is a mission-critical add-in for my client. It's file share. It's how they send secure files. They're a CPA firm, so they have to be able to send secure files, and I keep battling having to enable the file share Outlook add-in, and had to do that today. Now, I noticed there's no option, and I know I've seen this and I've checked it before. There's no option for saying never disable. And I know I've seen that, and I've had to do that for different add-ins that take too long, but you got to live with it. You got to have it. So anyway, that's a typical, little problem that happens. Something else that happened today, and I don't understand this. Client has an iPhone 14. My son has a 12. I have a 15. And we all have the same operating system, the 17.6.1. Why does one person not have the never option for the auto lock, where it'll automatically lock after so many minutes, and they have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then never? My client wants never, and his option, that's not there. So he's going to run that over to the Apple Store, and I'll follow up with that, because I don't know why never is missing on his, but not ours. And we're basically the same iOS. So anyway, that was, strange. This Wednesday, I guess yesterday, my big client, I'm on site, and one of the things we learned from the power outage from Friday, it took out a system that I use for collecting the backups from Shadow Protect. We have 2 servers on site, and Shadow Protect is the local backup that backs up to this. We call it a server, but it's just Windows 10 with a 10 terabyte hard drive. And we save those backups to that box. And I've had to redo that box a couple times, and the drive died. I was like, that's it. Had enough. Well, there was an engineer who retired recently, and his system they didn't need. And it was a homegrown system that was built not by me, but by a predecessor years ago, but it has a lot of RAM. It's a nice, powerful system, and the BIOS enabled me to have the 10 terabyte drive to be recognized, because some of the older Dell Optiplexes we had laying around, it wouldn't take because the BIOS can't support it, such a large hard drive. So I was able to get that up and running in a few minutes. So I was able to delete the profile for the person. They already had everything backed up and everything that they didn't need. I was able to rename it to the name that I wanted, that Shadow Protect is programmed to write to it, and just made the share. Everything else was set. All the permissions carried over. When I put the drive in, the drive was recognized immediately. I was like, okay, we're good to go. And I got that up and running, and that was working. This manufacturing facility every Friday the power is off because they're doing some major changes to the power coming into the facility, and it's been multiple Fridays, and this is just wrecking havoc. We have a procedure. The one IT person that's there shuts everything down, but I don't think he's going on site in the early Friday morning, and some things are falling through the cracks and are going down hard. This was one of the boxes that went down hard. So at least I know what's going on with that. More DNS changes. I have a client that the SPF record was not correct and email was getting rejected from Gmail. And I finally got that working and everything correct with the SPF record. Now, I don't know if you noticed, some of the recent Microsoft updates are confusing and annoying multiple clients. And one of them, and it's interesting, I have not got hit with this. And I don't know why, but it's changing their screen desktop wallpaper to rotate pictures, but they weren't set for that. And my son even noticed it on his workstation, the one behind me. All of a sudden one morning I'm watching all the pictures changing, and I'm like, wow, this, when did you do that? And he's like, I didn't do that. Microsoft did that. Why does Microsoft take over and inflict their will upon us when changes? That is so frustrating. And this is going to segue, and it's really annoying my clients. And so I was able to remote in and quickly, change it back to the picture that they wanted or the solid color that they wanted. Now, here's another annoying update that has happened for a client. Windows 11. Now, with some of the new systems, because we have many systems that have to be upgraded. So last week, we're doing a batch of systems, and we ran into a really bad problem with Oracle trying to be installed, and then the ERP client. Windows now, before you get to log in officially for the first time, it starts doing updates. And you might have noticed this, where it's going online and doing updates. Well, guess what? The updates they are now automatically installing, which we have no control to stop it, interferes with the install of the Oracle client. We found this out, and now we have to add a process that before we start, we got to uninstall those updates that were just installed, and we got to make sure that that's done. It just another aggravating impact of a change that Microsoft is implementing, and it gets very frustrating. So this is, what I'm living with and dealing with, my son and I, with clients. So that was annoying. More power outages from storms and different things happening, and it's killing UPS batteries. And we have another client where slowly, as the APC battery dies or that unit dies, I'm replacing it with a CyberPower UPS. And so I have another client that's doing that. 2 clients. And my son's visiting both of them tomorrow. Monitors died. Now, they were very old monitors. We did everything we could. So the 2 monitors, we ordered them, came in, and my son's hitting them before he comes to the office tomorrow, and getting them installed for, again, 2 different clients. That was kind of strange. And they're not even in the same neighborhood, and just old monitors dying. Have something that I have to schedule, and we're waiting on the availability. I have an attorney that is, they're by themselves, just a single attorney that uses PC law, lives on it, has to have it, and we have not updated it in a while. So she contacted PC Law and got the support because now she has a Windows 10 system. We've had the Windows 11 system ready to roll, and I shipped that to her. We can't move over until we take PC Law, install the latest version under Windows 11, and I got to get that data converted. And there is also a satellite system where her assistant uses PC Law in a different mode to take care of the billing. So I also got to do that. So I got to get all these technical procedures. What do I do first, second? Where do I need PC Law involved with migrating the data? Not sure. So we got to have that technical call. So that's something that's being scheduled. This was good. New client in Center City, Philadelphia, an architect. This is a great referral from one of our clients. And matter of fact, it was a property manager in the same building. And now he's all Mac. And let me describe. He has a really old Mac that's like 15 years old, where his drawings are saved and shared out on his network. He used to be a little bigger, but he's starting to wind down, and now he's by himself. He used to have a couple assistants pre-pandemic, and now he's just by himself. And he still pulls his files from that old Mac. His newer, we'll say newer iMac, but it's pretty old. It's 10 years old. So I come out to see what's going on, make sure that everything is working, the backups. And one of the things I noticed is he really needed a strong backup, at least Time Machine. He doesn't want to back up to the cloud. And I'm like, okay, so we got to get Time Machine going. But I was like, why are you pulling your files from there? There was only like under 10 gig. And I was able to move that over to be local, but then make sure I have a great Time Machine backup that's working. And I've since checked on that, where my client had to do it because I could not install the following programs because the operating systems for the Mac, both Macs, were too old. Couldn't install Instant House Call, couldn't install Synchro, and I could not install Malwarebytes for protection. So I turned to my new client and I said, time for a new iMac here. And he agreed. So he's getting that this week. Then's going to reach out, and then we're going to make sure getting all of his data moved over. Then I'll have proper remote access to manage it, proper antivirus, anti-malware protection, and that'll be good. But that was interesting going into Center City. Haven't done that in a long time. And it's something else. Since it's been a long time, there are clients, because of me being a snowbird going back and forth from Florida, and now I'm in Pennsylvania, at least until the end of September. Well, guess what? Since I haven't seen the clients, we have an all-day maintenance scheduled for one of our larger real estate and title insurance companies. And my son scheduled that, and I'm like, I'm going with you because I have not schmoozed with the owner and everybody there. I said, I need to make an appearance. So that's going to be all day Tuesday, just blocked out for that. And I'm trying to do more and more of meeting, getting in front of face-to-face for clients that I haven't seen in a while. And really some of them since the pandemic, because everything's remote, or my son's been on site. So just wanted to, keep update you on these are the things that I'm doing. So we have to hit all of the workstations, make sure Malwarebytes is upgraded, do a quick cleaning. And they like that during the week, during the day. So that's why Tuesday's a perfect day for them. And I want to get that done before the end of the month, before I start doing the quarterly invoices. So this way those hours can all be reflected. My son set up the Synology NAS. This is the one that failed, that I was able to recover all the data a few weeks ago, and I talked about the software. That new Synology NAS is now up and running beautifully, where I copied all the shared files that they use, and then set up backups exactly the way they were set up. The person that kind of vanished, their IT person that they had used for years, just vanished. Phone doesn't ring anymore. They can't get a hold of them, haven't talked to them in such a long time, and that's what made them look for, hey, who can we get? And that was another great referral for us. And again, a small client, but where it's only husband and wife business. Each of their systems need to be backed up, and we're already the old Windows 7 backup that's available in Windows 10 and Windows 11. That system image and backup was going to their current NAS. So all I had to do is, they were doing it via IP address. I just did it to the proper share and server name, and everything's working good. So that was, wanted to close the loop on that little project. We are keeping our wiring guy extremely busy. He's happy. 2 wiring quotes we're waiting on, where he did the walkthrough for everything that they need. And it's interesting because they're 2 nonprofits. One is a church, and another one is a not-for-profit business that we're just waiting on the go and the acceptance of the quotes that I submitted. So a lot of it for the church, it's really the nursery school and some of the other things. And we have, a mesh Wi-Fi quoted in there. And then there's like 7 or 8 lines, and then a PoE switch. So that started to get a little pricey for the church. So I don't know if they have the budget, and if they realized that it was going to be, the amount that it is. I mean, I think it's reasonable, and we are tight as we can. And I don't even, for churches, we kind of have a church rate, which is a discounted compared to our normal rate, let's say. So, we're always mindful of that, and, try to help anything that's a not-for-profit. We try to help. This was interesting, and this was on Friday. A new laptop for a client that's in my area, and he is more in the financial business, works out of his house by himself, and he needed a laptop that is small, light, portable, that he can bring in front of a client and show them different things. So we settled on the Lenovo 2-in-1. So the keyboard flips, and it's a tablet, but it's a full laptop. The interesting decision, he has Microsoft Office 365 personal, or we'll say family. And he uses OneDrive to sync his desktop and files. So the question was, do we put OneDrive and have it sync? And we had to really explain what was going to happen and that syncing. Now, he has multiple monitors, but multiple files where he lives off his desktop. Now, if we sync the desktop, that's going to completely clutter everything. And if he starts moving things around, it's going to sync and move things around on his main system. So because of that, we opted to not link OneDrive to his account. And it was just interesting, where a couple weeks ago, I just finished with a client the exact opposite. She has a desktop at the office, a desktop at home, and a laptop when she travels. And she says, we were doing something totally different for the business, and she said, I need files, the same files on all 3 systems. How can we do it? And I said, I'm going to make sure you have Microsoft Office. And this is, she doesn't need Business 365. She already has her email. Everything's all set up. So she just needed the Office licensing and OneDrive, and setting up with the Office 365 family. I was able to remote in and configure all 3 of the systems. She puts a file on one, it appears on the others. She is so happy. And that is OneDrive's a great solution for that. But you got to make sure, everything's going to sync, or you got to be particular and say, well, maybe I don't sync the desktop, but just documents. And like, I don't like syncing my desktop between my office in Florida and my office in Pennsylvania. I don't want my desktop syncing because I have totally different programs on might have it on one computer and not the other. But I do have my documents living in the cloud that I'm sharing that are very important. And to me, that's the main thing. So you might have to tweak the OneDrive settings. Okay. After all of that, the first link that's going to be in the show notes is a link to an Excel cannot complete the task with available resources. And it's Excel 2010. And this is the bookkeeper for a client that remotes in to the accounting desktop in the company and takes care of all the bookkeeping. And as she was doing an export, she ran into this error. So the resolution, there's 7 methods here. And I have to check in with her to make sure I sent this link, and I need to make sure, hey, how many of these things have you tried? Where are you at? And method 1, check whether you exceeded limits. Make sure only one instance of Excel is active. I'm pretty sure that is. Close all applications. Yes. Test Excel in safe mode. Haven't done that. Turn off the preview pane in Windows Explorer. This is Windows 7 only. Save as an Excel workbook file if you use relative names, and change defined names to reference cells directly. I got to go over some of those because I'm not sure exactly how this is being exported. All I know is she's getting the error, and I don't have any more details, but this was the first quick link that was exactly the error that she's receiving. So I thought, okay, this will be good, and I'll share that link. Here's easy things. And this was a call Friday morning. Client in Florida, her laptop could not hear even something on YouTube. So I remoted in, and the first thing I checked, and I don't know how it changed, but in the sound options, there were 2 sound cards listed there, and I think I like one is the actual, I think, built into the motherboard, and the other one might be tied to the sound to the video card or something for the HDMI for high def audio. Anyway, the wrong one was selected. I picked the other one. Everything's working, and she was like, "Oh," I said, "Let me review exactly how I did that, so if it ever happens again, you know where to check." And 5-minute phone call, and the client is just so happy. And I have a lot of them throughout the day. And even more today that I didn't get a chance to document, that, that quick call, they call in, got a quick problem. I might remote in and solve the problem in the matter of a couple minutes. So something else we've been seeing, and a shout out to Instant House Call, which we still use. And one of the nice features of Instant House Call is the ability for us to resell sub-accounts. to allow an individual remote access to their computer. We had 3 within the last 2 weeks where they needed remote access to their desktop that they've never had before. And I was able to set up some instant house call sub-accounts. So that was nice to be able to have that and charge a price where they're not being crushed with some of the other remote access alternatives that cost a ton of money. Here, if you subscribe to Instant House Call, you get that as a service for free that you can then resell. And I resell the sub-accounts on an annual basis at a fair price. And clients are very, very happy. And then, of course, we have to teach them how to use it. Okay. Today, I had a conversation with one of our financial advisors whose clients are contacting him about data breaches. And he needed to know how to handle this and how do you talk about it. And I said, it really doesn't matter the data breach. You just assume your data is compromised. And we've had conversations like this. I've done shows on this. And maybe it's time for an update on this in another show. But I'm just going to touch on it for a couple minutes. The first thing I said was you got to freeze your social security numbers, your information at the credit bureaus. You got to put a lock on that. You got to freeze that. So this way, if you are going to buy a car or a house or any purchase or even applying for a credit card, you have to call and get that unlocked so they can do that. Right off the bat, that protects you from identity theft. Another easy, low-hanging fruit solution, any financial institution that you're dealing with, you got to have multi-factor authentication. And I explained that to him. And I said, armed with those two, make sure you have a complicated password. And we're only hitting this at a high level. I said, you prepare your clients for protection all the time. It's going to happen. Your data is out there. I said this when Equifax had their massive data breach. Well, that's everybody. You can check some of those services online that look for that you will find your information's out there, and it's going to get out there. It's no longer, if it's going to happen, it already happened to everyone. So the big thing is let's prepare for that. Let's do all the right things. So I think I might do another dedicated show just on that topic. One of the things he asked if I can do that presentation over like a massive Zoom meeting to his clients. And I said, absolutely, I would be glad to. And I have done that, where I have done the security presentation, going over these, using a strong password manager. So this way you don't use the same password for everything. So there's lots of little steps that you can take. So this way you don't live your life worrying when the next data breach is going to happen and you're prepared. And stay prepared. All right. One last thing, tomorrow, and this is good, one of our bigger wiring jobs and massive Wi-Fi setup was a financial advisor that moved to a new location, and it was an older building being completely remodeled. And I have not been there. My son has been there many times, and I can't wait to go over there tomorrow. Everything's finished, and they're having an open house for all the vendors that got them to where they're at right now. So it's just sort of a vendor party at the end of the day tomorrow, and my son and I will be there, and the wiring guy. And I thought that was kind of nice. I think it's a champagne and pizza, so that sounds great. So looking forward to that and walking through. I've had a couple clients do things like that, which is very nice. And like doing that, like having that and interactions. So, and I'm going to get to meet other vendors who they're not IT, contractors and different things that may need an IT referral. Our wiring guy now may have more opportunities, so we made sure he's going to be there and take a little stack of business cards. So use that as a networking opportunity. Always look for those opportunities for possible new business. And that's very, very important. As a matter of fact, we've seen a little uptick over the last couple of weeks of BNI, that's the Business Networking International, the group. I've talked about it. I was a member for 10 years. And then my son's kind of replaced me in my footsteps and is there. And we've been seeing their single jobs. I would like to see more long-term retainer clients. That's the home run referral that we want. But the single referrals are very, very nice, and you don't know where that can lead. So my son's been busy doing like data transfer. Someone who just got a new computer and they're lost. What am I going to do? And they're like, we know someone, and they refer MHS Consulting. So, and keep that in mind. If you need help, if you're stuck, you're with a client or you have a project and you want some help, I have a great consultant to consultant rate, and reach out to me. And, email me first at miketechshow@gmail.com, and you let me know if it's an opportunity you want to talk about, and then I'll send you, all my contact information on the business side. And that's easy to go to anyway. It's mhsconsulting.net, and we have our phone number and email and everything's there. So you can, fill that out and have it sent to me. Glad to help, and always helping listeners where they might be stuck. Maybe it's a server issue or something that you can't handle. Be very glad to help. That is it. Don't forget the main website, MikeTechShow.com. That'll redirect you to MikeNation.net. YouTube, Michael Smith MTS. That's where you can get all the videos. And of course, continue to download and subscribe to the show. I really appreciate all your support. Best way to support is to make a donation, and links are on the website to do that. One-time donation, even a regular one. I thank the listeners that have a monthly donation to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means so much and is a big help. That is it. See everybody next week, same time, same channel. Bye-bye. Let's stop streaming. Whew. Okay. Save. And that was just from the trenches. And there was a lot of other little junk that I didn't go over. Just little things. So that was fun. All right. I know the kitty cat's right there being very patient. I think she's on camera. Is Belle on? Yeah, Belle's on camera. So Bella. We just say cat. All right. Mr. Smash, or what? I see. I don't know how to pronounce that. Could the missing phone lock option be related to an email policy? No, he's a single individual person with that. So but that was a great comment about the possibility of a policy being pushed down to not have that option, which is very interesting because that would be something in the corporate world that we would push to not allow a never, because we want the phone to be locked So you would have a passcode to then go in. So that is very that is a very good idea. Thank you. And I eyeballed that as I was talking, so I appreciate that. Let's see. Boo, 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 boo. All right. Where am I at? Where am I at? I need water. Mm. Okay. How about some music while I do an edit? And we'll edit a little bit, and oh, then I've got to feed the kitty cat. So what do we want to hear? What do we want to hear? I was playing a lot of Pearl Jam. Oh, that's the next concert. Oh, you didn't. That's right. I've had my Green Day concert before. Since there was no show last week, the week before, August 9th, because my last show was August 8th. So August 9th, we were at the Green Day Smashing Pumpkins Rancid concert, and it rained. And I was so lucky. Our seats at Citizens Bank Park, the level above us extended just enough that we were dry. And that was great because we weren't sure whether our seats were going to be impacted by the rain or not. So we all had a cheap poncho just in case. But it was great. We were dry, and it was a long day because we tailgated early, and it was a lot of fun. And Green Day, Billy Joe Armstrong gave so much of his voice. At the end, he said, "I'm losing my voice," and for the final song, they had to cancel their Hershey concert the next day because of his voice. So I was glad. I mean, Green Day delivers. If you like that music, it is well worth seeing. Now, I am the only one in my family that enjoyed the Smashing Pumpkins. My kids, they're not pumpkin fans so as much. And then enjoyed Rancid. I guess they did 11 songs, and the last 4 I knew, and it was good. Hey, you know what? How about Rancid? And I might have played this before, but this is their big one that they close with. Ruby Soho. Oh, I gotta upload. Oh.